It's great to be with you again, and MDA really appreciates our partnership with Training Magazine and with you. And great to see everyone pouring in today. As Gary said, I'm in the Northeast in the Boston area, a little cooler than our Arizona friends, over 100 there. It's about 50 something here, but bright and beautiful. I just like these opportunities. I've been in this space, as Gary said, for over 20 years. Still love the opportunities to dialogue and learn together. And I've personally worked with both Debbie and Ben, so I can also say that not only are they two attractive people, as you can see on the screen there, but you're also hearing from two people who are very thoughtful, very committed, and highly effective leaders. So great to have them with us. And Debbie, if you would just introduce yourself and your role for a little bit, and then we'll let Ben do the same.
So really had a lot of years in the HR world for the company, and then in January of 2016 our COO retired, and I had the good fortune to move into the Chief Operating Officer position, and it was a perfect fit because I had a huge passion for people, being the team members I get to work with and the customers. And today we have the majority of the team members at Midco do report up through operations, and today we have the customer care team, field ops, central operations group, and then we also have a number of cross-functional teams that report up through operations. So in the role, I started in operations by really taking a look at what the right org structure was, and then from there really became focused on making sure that we have the right leaders in the right spots doing the right things, and that's how we got connected with MDA.
I've been at Midco for just about 8 years and have had the opportunity to serve in various roles, starting actually in marketing analytics as an analyst, getting the opportunity to build and develop that team, to then taking on the consumer sales team, and then moving into the operations role just about a year ago. And this was, the timing of that was really great as I went through the function leader development experience with MDA last year, which we're going to be talking about today. And the timing was great as I took on this new team of leaders in a new area. Just gave me a tremendous amount of tools and guidance on how I could bring that together and be successful. And so I'm excited to be here today and would echo Debbie's sentiments in thanking Gary and the Training Magazine team and Jim and all the great folks at MDA. So really excited to be here.
As are we. You know, it's one thing for us to talk among ourselves in L&D, but so helpful to have leaders who are in the trenches and leaders with long experience with us to comment. And I will be bringing you in at various points to comment and enrich this dialogue. So this slide notes MDA's version of the pipeline model that was popularized a ways back by Ram Charan and others. We have an assessment center there in Minneapolis, and it has accumulated data on thousands of leaders whom we've assessed and who've gone through full simulations targeting each level of the pipeline. Our focus today is on the function leader, those directors, those VPs of functions and business units all along the value stream. Directors and VPs of marketing and sales and manufacturing and customer service, technology, product development, and all sorts of support functions as well, like HR and legal and operations, like Ben and Debbie are leading. So that's really our focus here today. So we set out to study these business unit leaders, these functional leaders, and see what was most essential for their development. And again, we're fortunate to have a strong assessment business for many, many years. It conducts hundreds of assessments a year on all levels of the pipeline. So our team did a thorough job of combing through 3 full years of data on function leader assessments. These are folks that take cognitive and personality tests, a day in the life of that leader. They get interviewed, they role play, the challenges of thinking strategically, of meeting with several different people. There's quite a thorough combing over of these folks. And so we took all that data and we looked strongly at it, did a lot of coding sessions with it. We were looking for where these those transitioning into function leaders most stumbled, and also where do the most successful function leaders operate? Where were they excelling? So we worked through those rankings and results, and also through our executive coaches. We held a lot of discussions with those who work every day developmentally with function leaders to determine what was absolutely critical to their success. So all that crunching and work fed into 5 critical roles. That was the net result of our work, and you see them here on the screen. And I'm going to go into these in some length, but just a quick highlight that while there's a competency basis here, kind of clusters of competencies, we chose to focus on roles performed rather than competencies mastered. And we especially owed that insight to our MDA executive coaches, because their consistent experience coaching leaders is that this fits the leader mindset. Leaders see work as exercising different roles rather than exercising different competencies. And the leaders we do development coaching with can much more clearly draw lines between their roles and the business outcomes that they need. So roles also can create a really solid basis for development planning. We'll turn to Debbie and Ben here for a minute. Again, would love to hear from you, maybe Debbie first, as a COO, if you could speak to perhaps one of those roles in terms of why it's critically important for your success and Midco's success.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say all 5 of these roles as a function leader are important and critical to success. However, when I really consider the one that I look at and place the most value on, or that's the most important to me, I would have to go with influence. And, when I think of a leader that's effective in internal influence, I think of someone that is inspiring and someone that is able to get team members to come on board. I also think of someone that can motivate and energize others. And it's a leader that I see with having a lot of passion around what they do. I also see someone that's a people person, and they really have a strong value of people and a desire to do what's best for others. So of these traits, again, I think of it as someone that with strong influence is someone that can work productively with others to accomplish the goals and objectives that they have ahead of them. And I really see that the internal influence is really kind of the foundation that you build on for talent manager, change leader, and results driver as well. I would be remiss not to throw out a shout out to talent management, having an HR background, but again, if I had to choose one, I would have to go with an internal influence.
Love that perspective, and it makes sense, and it's an interesting one to speculate on, which is sort of the foundational one. I think you make a good case for it, Debbie, and certainly, again, as you step up to that level, the amount and number of people you're seeking to influence and work effectively with, not only down but across, is substantial. The network that you have to tap to get things done, to get the resources for your team to work effectively across boundaries is large. So thank you. That's great. And Ben, for you, what might stand out here among these 5?
Yeah, I think I'll take the baton from Debbie on the talent developer role. When in the current role that I have, one of the key things that I've seen in terms of supporting success that's really jumped out is the importance of having a great team around you, and that's really all about talent development in terms of seeking out the best talent, but then also making sure that you're investing your time and energy into the development of your team of leaders. And so because they are so critical to the success of our group, as I mentioned, we have a really diverse impact on the organization, and within my team we have have kind of some different specialized functions, but ensuring that I've got the right leaders who have the skills that they need, that they're working well together, and they can connect the importance of their role to what's driving positive organizational results. That has been so critical, and I've seen that. So, and then just to say that in agreement with Debbie in terms of internal influence of the importance of telling your function story is something that I think is really important, and that's a critical component of that influencing as well. So those are a couple of things that really jump out to me, Jim.
That's great. Well, I'm going to guess that some of our listeners are going to be envious of Midco and hopeful that they have the kind of enlightened leaders that you two are here, and recognition of how people drive that business. As one model of how this might be kind of organized, you see here our take on what we call the Function Leader Development Experience, FLDE. And in fact, we call it experience rather than program, because that's what it is. Rather than programmatic, it's an experience that unfolds over time with a lot of the elements we just mentioned, as well as kind of the traditional leadership program of 3 days. So there's some important pre-work with assessment, with some feedback and coaching that helps them identify where they most need work on those 5 roles, and then some real solid work throughout the program on each of those roles, as I said, including experiential and simulation-based things. We're big believers in peer coaching. We use accountability partners or learning partners throughout that they connect with, not only for that experience but beyond, and set up meetings to speak with one another about their common challenges many weeks after the program. And then post-experience, there's additional coaching as they follow through on a full development plan. And here I'd love to again bring in Debbie and Ben, because they had the experience of Ben was a part of our FLDE a year ago, and Debbie helped make the choice about this. And I just wondered if you could perhaps respond on what attracted you to the development model, maybe Debbie, and what value or impact you've seen from those who took part in it for your organization.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, Ben went through the FLDE program, and I did not. But one of the things that I have seen that was so valuable for me in my role is I loved the robust assessment that MDA provided, and really it really was great information that we could build on and that we gained from these assessments. And for the individuals that have participated in these robust assessments and the information that I've gotten back, it's really a deep understanding of what motivates that person, what they value, some insights on some of the personality and work style characteristics, and even some of the pitfalls or how they would respond in more of a challenging time. And these were really great tools and assessments that really gave us some great insights on how the individuals would work and lead. And not only on an individual level, we took that information, we carried it even a little bit further and compiled it and how the team would work together. So they were, like I said, really valuable to us, and we also took those assessments even a step further, and we did one-on-one meetings with the members, with my team members that went through the FDLE, and we provided insights on the results, and we created action plans, and then we came up with ways for us as a team working together and how we can be better aligned and to achieve our strategic goals. So for me, the starting basis with the robust assessment experience was a great place to start, as it was really foundational for the rest of the development elements.
Absolutely. And I know, thank you, Debbie. I know our listeners know too that the support of senior leaders is so important to programmatic success and to the development of levels below, and you and your fellow leaders did that in ensuring that anyone who went through this as you said, had the dialogues afterwards, had the fall through and support on the development plan, and there were actually 6 different leaders from Midco that were part of this experience. I wanted to note that I saw a question on action learning, and I will turn back to that and say just a little bit more about it, because I believe in it, use it so much. But let me just have Ben comment first for a little bit, and then I'll address that question.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had the opportunity to go through the program, the pre-program work, the 3-day event, the post-program work, and, throughout, one of the things that really jumped out was just the tools that we were provided that you can begin to put to use right away. There's just so many really straightforward, applicable tools that help you in each of the 5 roles. It really helps you assess the situation. It helps you kind of gather your thoughts around it and put a plan in place that you can implement to drive positive results. So that was key. The other big key for me was just the coaching that was provided throughout. In post-assessment, leading up to it, and then post-program, having the company invest in this program for me and my colleagues, and the coaching that went along with it was just, really supportive, and really just provided the tools and confidence as a function leader that you can make a positive impact. The other thing too, just to mention is just the shared language, understanding. Sometimes you assess the situation, you feel like you know what you need to do, or you feel like you have a handle on it, but the tools and skills that we gain through FLDE really gives that common language to understand and explain the situation and plan it. So overall, just a really tremendous experience.
Thanks, Ben. And so you're hitting on some of the key elements for whatever program our listeners pull together, in terms of having that assessment to drive a heightened awareness for individuals of what's important, what they need to work on, that shared language, that the tool-based approach of things that they can apply right away, and that follow-up support, whether it's from their own managers or other coaches. There were 6 of you that went through, and it was really great too. I know another practice that those who have programs might think about, as they did at Midco, is have those 6 people report back on their learning to the executive team, and I think that was really effective and resulted in some real insights into how to do strategic planning and some other things.